our playoff march is finally completed. The Leafs have finally made the playoffs. Yeah! Woo! Suck it, Habs fans and Saints fans. Anyways, I thought maybe I'd start off the video blog with how I always start off the video blog, with talking about the Leaf game that just passed. Leafs versus Senators, hockey night in Canada, in Ottawa, and half the Scotiabank place was filled with Leaf fans. Well, yeah. But anyways, first period, nothing much happened. Fraser McLaren got into a fight with Matt Kassian, Zach Kassian's brother, and, well, the Leafs got a goal taken away from them. I mean, Komarov interfered with Craig Anderson, who faced the Leafs for the first time since before he got injured. Which ironically enough happened less than a week after the first time he faced the Leafs this season, and which ended in a 3-0 shutout win for our backup goalie. But yeah. Anyway, Leo Komarov interfered with Craig Anderson, but he didn't interfere when Phaneuf was trying to shoot the puck. For some reason, the goal was called back because of goaltender interference, and at the time, Komarov had nothing to do with it. I don't know what's going on with the refs, but it looks like the Senators brought their checkbook to the game tonight because the referees seem to be in favor of the Ottawa Senators all game long. Well, with a couple of Leaf power plays. But anyway, second period, Cody Franson shoots the puck and JVR deflects it past Anderson, and the Leafs are on the board 1-0, and the Leafs could do nothing about, or the Senators could do nothing about getting that goal called back because there was no goalie interference. And later in the period, JVR actually gets another goal, except this time he got it on his own, and it's 2-0 Leafs. But then Charlie Gonacher, the guy they traded for Ben Bishop, he actually shot the puck at Reimer, and Silverberg deflected it in, and there goes Reimer's shutout bid against the Senators, which lasted about 4.5 periods. But that's okay because the Leafs were still up 2-1, and in the third period, that's pretty much when the final nail in the coffin for the Senators, at least for this game, was finally put in, because then Nazem Kadri ended his goal-scoring drought, which lasted pretty much since the last time the Leafs played the Senators in Ottawa. Pretty much last time he got his hat trick. But anyways, yeah, it's 3-1 Leafs, and then Joffrey Lupul on a gorgeous breakaway shoots the puck. Anderson initially stops it, but he only just got part of it. The rest just bounced over him and into the net, and it's 4-1 Leafs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the final piece of the puzzle to actually complete our playoff march. And now the Leafs are in the playoffs thanks to the Senators' garbage effort in Saturday night's game. And but now I gotta mention a few things about what happened this season. Okay, yes, there was a lockout, and the only hockey that people got treated to was in the American Hockey League. And I was really happy to see Ben Scrivens get called up as Reimer's backup, because Ben really earned it with his play in the Calder Cup playoffs last year. And I was there, I think, one game for each round. But anyways, there have been a few people from the Marlies team who made the Calder Cup final, or playoffs, who were on the Leafs this year, like Jake Gardner, Nazem Kadri, Ben Scrivens, Mike Koska was on the Norfolk Admirals. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Leo Komarov was signed this year. That's pretty much it. But nonetheless, these guys have playoff experience. Okay, yeah, Matt Fratton and Nazem Kadri should also include. But these guys have playoff experience, even though it's for the Calder Cup finals, but they're going to come into great value for the Leafs come the actual NHL playoffs, which is going to be huge for the Leafs and the city of Toronto. But one thing I didn't really like that happened this season, Brian Burke being fired. I mean, okay, if you're going to fire him because the Leafs didn't make the playoffs during his tenure as a general manager, when he's made so many promises to make the Leafs a playoff team and a cup contender, or the fact that the LA Kings made him look bad by saying, by making the Stanley Cup Finals and winning the cup and finishing 8th seed when Brian Burke didn't want to get in at the last minute and have their butts handed to them in the first round. I mean, what's to stop the first place seed from having the same thing happen to them in the first round? It's not going to make much of a difference. But anyways, management chose to fire him just before the season started, and in my opinion, that was a bad call. I mean, look, 60% of the current Toronto Maple Leafs roster was all Brian Burke's team. 40% was from Ferguson, Cliff Fletcher, and Dave Nonis, especially Fraser McLaren, picking him up from waivers from San Jose. That was a good call. Especially since he and Colton Orr were instrumental in being the Leafs' tough guys and getting into fights. In fact, this season, the Leafs lead the league in terms of fights. I think it's like the 41st and the 42nd fight that happened in this game. But the Leafs have gotten much tougher this year. They're tougher to play against. They hit physically harder. Even Nazem Kadri, not only is he playing better, but he is actually doing something he hasn't been able to do in the past when he was up with the Leafs. And that is actually lay out hits. I mean, in the summer of 2012, he went to Gary Roberts' training camp, and it has really, really paid off for him. Because through most of the season, he was one of the Leafs' leading goal scorers. And yet, for some reason, Ron Wilson decided to have him down with the Marlies for most of the season last year. I don't know what happened, but obviously this is one of the reasons why Ron Wilson was fired as the Leafs coach. And Brian Burke made a great move by hiring Randy Carlyle as the coach, but I kind of wish they made that move earlier last season, because the Leafs would have actually made the playoffs. Now, the other thing I want to talk about was that ridiculous thing the Senators tried to do by banning Leaf fans and Hab fans from the Scotiabank Place just because half of the people in attendance when the when the Senators play the Leafs and the Habs, they're all fans of the opposing team. Yeah, so what? It happens. I mean, even in Edmonton, when the Oilers play the Flames, no matter what arena they play at, half of the fans in attendance are going to be supporting the opposing team. Same thing when the Canucks play the other Canadian NHL teams. The same thing for pretty much every NHL teams, except for maybe the Winnipeg Jets, because they've been only in the league for 2 seasons. But what my point is, that is really, really sad that the Ottawa Senators management would actually be bothered by fans of other NHL teams supporting the opponents who are facing the Senators. I mean, really, do you guys see any other NHL team trying to do this kind of thing to keep fans of the opposing team out of their arena? No. So, whatever it is that's bothering you guys, you really should let it go, because there is absolutely nothing that the Senators can do to keep Leaf fans out of Scotiabank Place. I mean, do you think that Leaf fans would want the same thing to happen, or at least the Leafs to do the same thing to fans of the other NHL teams from coming to the Air Canada Centre? No, because the Leafs are too classy to even think about doing something like that. I mean, honestly, Eugene Melnyk, grow up and smarten up. Now, I'm sorry that us Leaf fans are in your nightmares, but still, grow up. The other major thing that's happened this year, and something I'm really proud of, the Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings, the Winter Classic has been renewed for 2014, and the Leafs and the Red Wings are going to challenge each other at the Big House. And as you can see, I've already got my outdoor Winter Classic jersey, and interesting enough, I actually got it on Saturday when the Leafs were playing the Senators. So not only is this jersey going to represent the very first Leaf game played outdoors in team history, but it's also going to represent the day the Leafs ended their 9-year playoff drought. So I show you the patch here, which for some reason you have to pay extra $20 no matter where you get it. But when I do, the camera just zooms in out of focus. But anyways, so Senators fans, Habs fans, how you like it now, suckers? The Leafs are in the playoffs, and you guys don't have any real insults to throw at us because this time we actually made the playoffs. Yeah, how you like it now, suckers? So, in other words, to finally close out this video of the Leafs beating the Senators and making the playoffs, 3 cheers for Ottawa. They thought they had a shot, but they must be smoking Ottawa, because the Stanley Cup will never go to Ottawa. Anyways, so I guess our Stanley Cup march must now continue, eh? But the Leafs do have 3 games left against the Florida teams, and both of those teams are out. But I just don't get how the Montreal Canadiens can play like garbage after they clinch a playoff spot. I mean, why do they play like garbage before they clinched it? But never mind. Anyways, there's going to be a ton of Leafs parties around the city, around the country. And I just got to say, whew. Oh, I also want to mention another thing. A lot of people have been asking what has happened between now and when the Leafs last made the playoffs in terms of whatever. When the Leafs last made the playoffs, people were actually using flip phones for cell phones. And cell phones did not have internet capacity back then, nor did they have any touchscreen phones. Also, high definition was only available to the rich and famous. And even then, there were hardly any high-definition channels back then, so let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and YouTube didn't exist, Twitter didn't exist, and Facebook was only available for certain college programs or colleges, so pretty much me and all the other video bloggers could not even make one video during the time that the Leafs made the playoffs because, well, back then, web cameras were used for chatting and doing other sorts of naughty things I don't want to mention. Anyways, what else? That's about it, probably. At least that's all I can think of for now. But anyways, I guess this means our Stanley Cup march is going to get started April 30th. So until then,